Now, this weekend's air crash in the Sinai Peninsula has put pressure on what has been a fruitful relationship between Egypt and Russia. As far as tourism is concerned, Egypt has long been the preferred choice for Russians wanting a sunny getaway.
More than 3 million Russians visited the country in 2014, but in the wake of Saturday's crash, there are fears that those numbers could drop dramatically.
It wasn't the way they were supposed to come home. Inside these trucks, the bodies of Russians whose holiday in the sun came to a tragic end in the Sinai desert. They were among millions of Russians who chose Egypt for their holidays every year. And Egyptians are keen to welcome them, waiving a $25 fee recently and even accepting rubles in some shops. Ekaterina is one of them. She's just returned from a holiday to Sharm el-Sheikh 2 days before the crash.
It was a shock for me because I realized those people on board, perhaps we crossed each other in the hotel, in the canteen, at the swimming pool, at the beach. It's a shock because I could have met them. I didn't get a chance to chat to them or get to know them. But because of that, I feel like they've become closer for me, and I take this tragedy a lot harder. I feel for their relatives and those who are waiting for them back at home.
Ekaterina is not alone in her shock. As the flowers pile up outside St. Petersburg airport, the jury is still out on what happened to the Airbus A321. But in the meantime, Russians are taking no chances.
We've already had dozens of cancellations across the agents' networks, but the agencies think that there will be more cancellations to come because the issue of what happened is still being discussed, including the possibility of a terrorist attack. If this was only a technical problem, then the reaction would be different. But the more they talk about a terrorist attack, the more people will cancel because they're afraid to fly.
Pictures of Russian bodies being taken to an Egyptian morgue could cause big problems for the Egyptian tourism industry. 1 in 9 Egyptians rely on it for their livelihood, and it brings in over 11% of the country's GDP. But last year, tourism was already down 95% from 2013 because of terror attacks and political unrest.
With the decline of the value of the Russian ruble, people have already started cutting back on foreign travel from agencies like this one. Well, Egypt is still a popular destination, especially for package deals, and many say they would wait and see what had caused the crash before deciding against going there.
Asked if she'd be put off going back to Sharm el-Sheikh in the future, Ekaterina said a lot depends on what caused the crash.
Maybe at some point, yes, but it hasn't been proven that it was terrorism. There have been various versions, one saying a bomb was planted. But if it's just the airline's fault, well, what does that have to do with Egypt? The resort's nice, the weather's nice, the food was nice, beautiful fish and good diving.
As air crash investigators continue to look into what happened here in Sinai, the Egyptian tourism minister is hoping to set up a meeting with Russian tour operators in an attempt to convince them that despite this tragedy, this country is still worthwhile and safe to visit. Daria Bondarchuk, SABC News, Moscow.